Okay, we're going to do some examples of finding some equations and graphs of parabolas. If we look at this first one, y equals x squared, it's a positive x squared, which means you already know that it opens up, and the vertex is at 0, 0. So we already know 0, 0, and it opens up. So the only three things I'm going to want is your equation that shows the direction it's opening, and the point that represents the vertex, the focus, and the line that represents the directrix. So in this case, this coefficient in front of the x squared represents the 1 over 4p. So if we solve this equation, you can cross multiply or just know in your head what you multiply p by. So you have 1 times 4p and 1 times 8. Divide by 4 and you get p is equal to 2. So the distance between the vertex and the focus is 2 units. So that focus is at 0, 2. The distance between the vertex and the directrix is also p units of 2, which goes down to y equals negative 2. I'm going to give you another one to try here. X equals negative 1/4 y squared. You can hit pause and try this one, and then move on to the next one. Okay, the next one here on number 3 is finding an equation of the parabola with a focus of 0, 1/4 and the directrix at y equals negative 1/4. So the first thing maybe is to make a sketch to kind of see where these are. So 0, 1/4 is a fourth of a unit up, and the directrix is y equals negative 1/4, which is a fourth of a unit down. And exactly in the middle of the focus and the directrix is going to be the vertex. So we already know the vertex is going to be 0, 0. There's no h or k. You also know that the parabola always wraps around the focus. So this is opening up. So our general equation is going to be y equals 1 over 4p positive x squared. So we just need to find that p value to plug in here to figure out how big the coefficient of x squared is. This distance that goes between the vertex and the focus is p units. So the p unit is 1/4. So if we plug that into our p of 1/4, 4 times 1/4 is 1, which means this coefficient is 1 x squared. I'm going to give you another one to try. Again, you can hit pause in order to solve it and then move on. I want you to find the equation where I give you the focus is equal to 5, 0, and the vertex is at 0, 0. Find the equation with those 2 points. The next one I'm going to do here is a sketch. This one is a negative y squared, so I already know that it opens to the left. So if we start here with graphing our hk, h is negative 2 and k is 3, so we went 2 units to the left and 3 units up. It's a negative y squared, so I know it opens around to the left. So now we know that the focus is going to be over here to the left somewhere, and the directrix is going to be to the right. So if we find that distance of p, we can find out what coordinates there are. So that negative 2 is the coefficient, which represents 1 over 4p, and it's negative. So we can cross multiply if you think of that denominator. If you cross multiply going down, it's negative 8p. Cross multiply going up, it's negative 1. When you divide by negative 8, you get p is equal to 1/8. So the coordinate of this point over here on the left is going to be from that vertex point. You already knew that that vertex was at negative 2, positive 3. So from that point, if we go 1/8 of a unit to the left, this point for the focus is going to be negative 2 and 1/8. 1/8 more units to the left, and then it's still 3 units up for the y coordinate. That's the focus. The directrix is 1/8 of a unit to the right of this point. So it's a vertical line, which is an x equals. And if you take that value of x equals negative 2 and go back to the right, actually in this case, going down on the number line, you're at negative 1 7/8 for that vertical line. I'm going to give you one to try again. Hit pause when you're ready. And it's y plus 1 is equal to negative 1/2 times the quantity of x minus 4 squared. Try to get a sketch of that graph with the vertex, focus, and directrix. Okay, the next one, We're going to find an equation of a parabola where the focus is negative 5 3/4, 1, and the directrix is at x equals negative 6 1/4. So if we draw a picture that goes left by negative 5 3/4 and then up 1, that's the focus. The directrix is the equation x equals negative 6 1/4. That's further to the left yet. So if we realize that exactly in the middle of those two things, there is going to be a vertex. So that vertex is right in the middle, and it's always going to wrap around the focus. That means we automatically know that this is a positive y squared. So our equation is going to be x equals a positive 1 over 4p with a positive y squared. So the first thing we know is that we have to find that vertex point so that we can know where that h and k is, and then we need to find the distance between that point and the focus or the directrix. So right in the middle of negative 6 1/4 and negative 5 3/4 is going to be a distance that you're moving of 1/4 of a unit right and left here. So this is, if you actually add the distance and divide by 2, you'll find the point in the middle. The y-coordinate is the same. So if we realize that this is 1 unit up, so is the vertex. And if you take these 2 points and add them together and divide by 2, that's at negative 6. That means if you move 1/4 of a unit to the right, this p-value is 1/4, and it's also 1/4 to the left, and you'll hit the directrix. So the p-value is 1/4, and the h and the k is negative 6 and 1. So the h goes with the x, so minus a negative 6 is plus 6. The p-value is 1/4, and the k-value with the y is 1, so you put minus 1. So if we simplify that, x plus 6 is equal to, the 4 and the 1/4 cancel, so that coefficient is 1, and then y minus 1 quantity squared. So it's a positive y squared. I'm going to give you another one to try. You can hit pause and find the equation. Where I give you the information that a focus is at the point of 1, negative 3, and your directrix is the equation of x equals 4. So go ahead and hit pause and try that one. Okay, if you actually hit pause and tried these out, I'm going to give you the answer so you have them as a reference on this first year supposed final. Should not have a p there. Should just be 1. Sorry about that. Should just be a 1/4. So in this case, this would be a parabola that's opening to the left. Your vertex is at 0, 0. It goes 1 unit to the left for the focus, 1 unit to the right for the directrix. So your picture should have looked like that. The second one, you're supposed to find an equation. May have been easier to at least picture it. The vertex is at 0, 0. The focus is 5 units to the right, which means automatically you know that this is going to open to the right. That's a positive y squared. You also know that the p-value is 5, so this is 1 over 4 times 5. So there's your equation. Next one you're trying to graph, this is a negative x squared. You know it opens down. Your vertex point here is at 4, negative 1. So you go 4 to the right and negative 1 down. Your p-value is found, you also know this is opening down because it's a negative x squared. Your p-value is found from the coefficient. That negative 1/2 is the same value as that negative 1 over 4p. If you cross multiply, you get negative 4p is equal to negative 2. So that means p is equal to 1/2 of a unit. So if you go 1/2 of a unit above this parabola, you're going to be at the line of y equals negative 1/2. If you go 1 unit down from the parabola, your focus is at the coordinate of 4, negative 1.5. And the last one you're supposed to try, you're supposed to find an equation. Again, it's probably best to sketch a graph so you know what you're looking at. Your focus is at the point of 1, negative 3. Your directrix is over here at x equals 4 of a vertical line. which means you know that your vertex is going to be exactly in the middle of those two things. So if this goes 1 to the right and this goes 4 to the right, exactly in the middle of that, the coordinate of the vertex point would be at 2.5. And then it's also down the same distance as the focus of -3. You also know it opens up to the left. So that tells you that it's going to be a negative y squared. So it's x minus the h value equals -1/4p, and then y minus the k value, which is -3, which makes this +3, quantity squared. And then you need the p value. The distance between this point of 1 and 2.5 is 1.5 units. So if you put 1.5 in for this p value, 1.5 times 4 is 6. So that value of the coefficient is -1/6. And we have a positive y squared with the hk shift. So there's your equation.